going to have a real quick tutorial on how to get a tie rod off, a few do's and a few don'ts. First thing, I already started by breaking my castle nut loose. It's going to have a cotter pin on there. This particular axle is from a junkyard. Cotter pin was real rusty. I didn't even bother trying to get it out. All I did was just put my wrench on and shear the cotter pin right off. You want to get your castle nut all the way loose so you can turn it by hand. Otherwise, once your tie rod's loose, you try and turn your castle nut. If there's enough resistance, you're just going to spin your tie rod right in there. It's going to make it a pain to get off. If you do that, tap your tie rod back on and loosen your castle nut. The friction of the tie rod in the cone will take care of that. Okay, a couple don'ts. Common thing is you put a pickle fork in here and you beat and you beat and you beat, and it does two things. It wastes your effort and it ruins the boot. Another thing is people like to hit it from the top. Two things again, waste of effort, and it'll mushroom the end of your threads and or your castle nut. Both of those, generally speaking, are going to make your tie rod unreusable. Here's the correct way to get it off and the only way to take it off. Couple tricks for this. If just by hitting you cannot get it off, put a small amount of force down in the direction that you need it to come out with a pry bar, with your hand, with weight, whatever, and get that to come. Next, you're going to take where your tie rod is going up through the material. This tie rod would be here. This tie rod you'd want to hit here. You're not actually hitting the tie rod itself, you're hitting the material that your tie rod is going through. I like to keep the nut on part way. Reason for that is when I do hit it and it comes off, it doesn't come and hit me in the toes. This particular time we're obviously real close to the floor, it's not a big deal. But I like to keep that on. Second reason I like to keep that on, if I'm not so accurate with my hammer and I hit my threads, now I hit my nut, my threads are still reusable if I need to. Next, take a real good size hammer. This particular one's a 3-pound. Don't be messing with a little tiny ball peen or anything. Take a sledgehammer, big 3-pound machinist sledge, and hit the cast, and it'll pop loose. It's really that simple. This one is our third take, so it was already loose. I had to swing the hammer 3 times the first time to get this off, and this is a junkyard axle that has water in it and all that good jazz. It was real nasty. It does come off that easy. Sometimes it does take more than 3 swings, but you can see I didn't damage this. It's cast, it's heavy, it's going to take the abuse. Same thing here. Real good solid whack or 2 or however many it takes to get that off. First you don't succeed, get a bigger hammer. Now we've got a reusable tie rod if we so desire, and we didn't waste the money in this particular case. It's an expensive tie rod. So there you have it, tie rod do's and don'ts on how to get them off.